up our Maya preferences. So you're going to go into your folder wherever your Maya folder is, like at the school, they're in the P drive. Mine's right here. I'm going to delete the 2019 folder if it exists. So if the 2019 folder is there, I'm going to delete that. And then I'm going to open up my Maya. I'll create the default preferences. You may not get that message. And then this is where it typically starts off. Okay, so I'm just going to make my window bigger. I'm going to go to this. I don't need to show the new stuff, so I'll get rid of that. And I'm going to start customizing some things. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to open the attribute editor on the right side. And I'm just going to drag this tab off. Okay, so now the tab is floating, and then I can close it. I don't want that open. I don't over there. I typically just have this open. So I want that. I'm also going to maximize my window just by double clicking that so I can see the full thing. And I'm going to go to my custom menu or custom shelf here, and I'm just going to go to add some things here. So I'm going to hold down the control key and the shift key and go to edit, delete by type, history. And then I'm just going to let go of control shift. Nothing apparently happened. If I click off into space here, you'll see the history button is right there. That's what we want. So now I'm going to do the same thing for some other ones. So control shift, modify, and I'm going to go to center pivot. I'm also going to go to freeze transform, and I'm just holding control shift and just going to these other items. If you make a mistake and you add extras, you can always right click and delete it. Not really need to edit it at this point, but you can do that. So edit, delete by type history, modify center pivot, and then modify freeze transformations. I'm also going to go to window, still holding control shift, and I'm going to go to the outliner, which is right here. I'm going to go to, we'll throw the node editor on there too. We may not use it a whole lot, but we may use it. Let's see what else. Let's go to general editors. Tools are good. Just seeing what else we have here. All right, nothing else from that specific one. Let's go to modeling. That should be good. Animation editors, I want to add the graph editor, and I want to add the tracks editor, and I want to add the dope sheet. Okay, and I actually don't need the tracks editor. Let's take that one off. So I'm going to right click and delete. What else? Nothing there. Rendering view. Render view is up here, so I don't really need that one. Hypershade's also up there, so I don't need that. That should be good. Relationship editors should be good. UI elements are good. Settings preferences are good. Okay. So that's plenty for this area right now. Okay. So that's my shelf. I'm going to right click on my shelf. I'm sorry. I'm going to click the gear over here and go to shelf editor. And I'm going to call this Sarcona shelf. And hit save all shelves. And there we go. Now after I do this, I'm going to go to File and hit Save Preferences. Okay, so if Maya were to crash right now, all my stuff that I've done, moving the attribute editor out, moving this, making this shelf, and adding these icons, all of that stuff would have gone. I'd have to redo it all. But when I go to Save Preferences, it saves those preferences. Okay. So now, next thing I'm going to do is come down here next to this running guy with a gear. And I'm going to go through these to customize some of these options, okay? So under the interface area here, this is that thing that popped up right at the beginning where you can highlight new items. I don't need that, but I'm just showing you where you can re-enable that. On some of your computers, oh, we'll get to that. You may have to change some settings, but on the school computers, it should be fine. Lots of stuff is inside here. Stuff that we're not really even going to get into in this class, but as a professional in the industry, you may need to get into it while you're playing. So the first thing I'm going to do is come down to settings here, and you'll see this is our time. So this is 24 frames a second. So we're going to leave it at 24, and that's what we're going to be doing all of our animations at. Okay. That's good. Oh, also we're at centimeters. So if we were to model something real scale, we have to pay attention that we are working in centimeters. And we're good there. Under animation, we have some options here for animation. Again, stuff we're not going to play with right now, but you may come back at another point and play with. This up here may be something that we'd have to tweak. Let's see, assets, cache playback, cameras, color management, dynamics, files and projects. All right, so that's our first major one. So under files and projects here, one thing you may want to enable is autosave. So Maya does crash more than we would like it to. In one class period, it may crash 4 or 5 times. In 1 hour, it might crash 4 or 5 times. But if you enable autosave, then it'll save it for you every however often you specify, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is. So definitely save your stuff there, or set that up. Another thing that you may need to do if you are working inside of, like my for whatever reason, my hard drive or hardware, I need to change this dialog style to OS native. It doesn't let me do the Maya default. It'll lock up every time. So I'm going to set this to OS native. File references, modeling, more stuff you can kind of look through. Next one we're going to go to is time slider. So we're going to say, for this one, we'll do play 24 frames per second times 1, which just means play it at real time. Okay. Up here, the frame rate. Oops. This is where you could also change that apart from that other area that we could see it before under settings. Here's your undos. So Maya gives you 50 undos. You could change this to another number like 200. 50 is fine for me. I would not set it to an infinite because it's actually too much. It takes up too much memory. Also, sometimes Maya will actually turn this undo queue off. I'm not sure why or how or what devil gets in the system that does that, but keep the undo on, and then just put 200 there if you're want 200. 50, like I said, is fine for me. I undo a lot, but typically it's easier for me just to redo what I've just done than to try to undo over 50 times. Save actions. All right, that should be it, right? So all we changed in here was under our files and projects, we enabled, oops, there it is, autosave, so it autosaves. I'm actually going to turn mine off because I don't like autosave on. And then under our time slider, we set this to 24 times 1. And under your undos, you set that to 50 or whatever, okay? And then I'm going to hit save here. And then I'm also going to go up to my file and save my preferences there as well. All right, now the last little bit we're going to do has to deal with file management, okay? So as we start working on our Maya files, we want to make sure that everything stays nice and organized because it can become a real troublesome area. Maya allows you to do that pretty simply, okay? So under File, I'm going to go to Project Window. And in here, I'm going to specify where I'm saving my files. So in another video, I talked about setting up your folder structure. So I'm going to go to my folder here, and I'm going to go to my folder structure. So I have my P drive. I have Sarcona Fall 2019. And depending on which class you're in, you would pick the appropriate one, 2520, 2540. And I hit New. I was able to change that. And then I'm going to give this a name. So I'm just going to call this Sarcona_playing around. Now what Maya is going to do is it's going to allow us to save all of our stuff into all of these folders automatically. It will automatically create this whole folder structure. If you think I'm lying, how dare you? 2520. Okay, so 2520, there's nothing here. Once I hit accept, then if I go back into this, there's that folder, Sarcona Playing Around, and then here's all the other folders, okay? So that creates our folder structure to keep our stuff organized for our entire project. I'm going to go to File again, and I'm going to go to Save Preferences. Okay, now I'm going to go to File and say Exit, and don't save. That just means save the scene. We didn't do anything to the scene, so we have nothing to save. All right. So once we shut down our Maya, it actually writes out our preferences. As we're going through, it's actually writing out our preferences, but that just kind of seals the deal. So under our 2019 folder, these are all of our preferences. Okay. So this 2019 folder is our preference folder. If I move it to my desktop and I were to reopen Maya, it's not going to have any of my preferences there. So all the stuff that I just did is completely gone. I don't want that. I want to make sure that I save this 2019 folder into here. Now, when I go from day 1 to day 2 to day 3, I need to take this folder with me. So when you back up your stuff, that 2019 folder goes with you. You have to do it a billion times if it takes it, then do it a billion times. But figure it out. I'm going to go to my P drive here, and I'm just going to take my 2019 folder and back it up. Okay? And then I'm just going to delete it from this area. Now every day I come into the class, I'm going to copy it from here and paste it into that Maya folder. Alright, so my 2019 folder is in there. So now when I open up Maya, all my preferences will be there. So every day before I leave, I copy this folder and put it on my drive. Every day before I start working, I copy this folder back. Where did it go? There it is. Cool. So make sure you save a copy of this 2019. If you don't, you have to come back to this video and rewatch the video and remake your preferences and hope that everything is cool. Awesome.